So yeah, so you got the new project, Midnight Run.
Yeah,
Yo,
I
it,
run
it,
out like 2 days ago. Basically, the album was available for down 2 days ago, and then back in April, I put out the Project Six was here. So Midnight Run's kind of the bookend to that. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Kind of ties it all together. The first project was all done by one producer, by Locon, um, who did that production, and he's a local producer in my area. Um, and then during the process of doing that project, I was through Instagram. Producers were hitting me up like, "Yo, man, check out my, whatever," and finding certain ones that had hot beats and fit my style, and so I got beats from them and worked out deals. And then so I was also making those songs on the side, even though I knew I would use them on the front. And then just in the last month, I decided, all right, man, I got it ready. I mean, it's been locked and loaded. I had the artwork, everything ready to go. I just been sitting on it, and I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna let it fly. And so basically on August 1st, I put the first video up, and in the last 6 posts, I basically released it on my website, and just like 6 posts on social media, here it is, boom.
The 6 posts on social media, the fucking the um uh, midnight is 6 hours after 6 o'clock. Yo, the mathematics is like it's fire. Like to me the song Mathematics too. That song always gets stuck in my head too. It's all mathematics, you
Yeah,
know.
and I think everything I do is all very calculated like that. Like when I make projects, like I already know what the project's going to be before I even record a song. Like I'm very calculated in what it's going to be, how it's going to be. Like in my mind, I already know, you know what I mean? And then I just let it unfold with the idea that I created of like the big scheme of it all. So I make sure it all always turns into something like that. It's always like if you dig into it, it's, 6 and 6 is 12, 12 is midnight, midnight's, XYZ. So it always has all these, there's multiple layers to all of it, just like how I rap. You know what I mean? It's like I'm saying one thing, but it means something else. There's like multiple meanings to everything. So that's kind of how it all rolled out. And in August, I decided I was going to let it fly. So I basically set my social media up like, all right, I'm going to put this up on this day, this up on this day, this up on this day, XYZ. And then by this day, it's going to be done and out there for everyone to hear. So that's kind of how I rolled it all out. So now it's out there, and I actually have one more video. I just haven't put it up yet. So I'll
Yeah,
put
yeah.
it up next week, maybe, you know what I mean? To just kind of keep it rolling. And then I got CDs and merchandise, like a real simple CD package that I'm shipping with both projects. So I'm keeping it funky, man, and doing it. I keep it underground, man. I make my projects. These last 2 projects, I've only released them on the website and Bandcamp, and they've been
Yeah.
real successful. So, I'm kind of like, well, there's no need to really use streaming because everybody's grabbing it. So
Yeah, like you like since I met you, you've been one that have like different merch. You sent me like the tapes, the stickers, and like all that, and the pin. Like you know the movie Office Space, where
yeah,
Jennifer Aniston has like the flare, like she has the pins
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
over her work thing. So
That's
so I actually took the pin and I put it on my work vest, and it's right on the back. And like people ask me all the time, oh, yo, you have something on your back there. I'm like, yeah, check it out. And like they're like, what is that? And it's like 6 o'clock. They're like, what's that? I'm like, oh, I tell them like, yo, it's this artist that I had on from Colorado, and they're like, oh, you like, and then people are like, oh, you've been reaching out to people like from like, I'm like, yeah, man, like I've
that's
had
what's up,
people
man.
on the show, so like I always have people at work say like, yo, what is that? Because I have the pin or on the back of my vest.
Well, that's what's up, man. I appreciate that very much. You know what I mean? It always helps, every little bit. You know what I mean?
For
So
sure,
that's
for sure.
yeah, and I've always been that way, man. I've always been a product guy. Like,
Yeah.
when I was when I was young, getting on the music, the people that I was around were like really about like, get a CD, press it, sell it, make money, do it again. you know. So it's like, that's why I have so many projects, you know. Like, I mean, since last year, I've released 46 songs and 12 videos, you know, and that ain't enough, you know what I mean? So it's like, that ain't enough even, dude. You know, like, to really, that ain't enough. Like,
Right.
I ain't got enough budget and enough team and enough push to even make it enough. But I mean, that's just one underground artist out there. That's 46 songs and 12 videos, and basically since April 26th of 2020. So I mean,
Definitely.
that much work. I mean, it's a consistent flow. But I was taught that way. Like, make a CD, press it, sell it. Make a CD, press it, sell it. Make a CD, press it, sell it. You know, make everything in short runs, make it limited, and do, you know. So that's always been my hustle, man. I ain't changed nothing in 20 years. You know, like, that's the
Right. Yeah.
hustle. I mean,
If it's not broke, don't fix it. Right.
yeah, I mean, I mean, I was doing that before this shit, this fucking Instagram shit. Like, this shit didn't even exist then, you know? So to be an old head still being able to do it, like, and I ain't gonna keep dropping albums, man. I mean, it's just, I had something personal going on, you know, inside myself. Like, I had my own goals set, and it wasn't really about if my shit was going to be popping or not. It was about my own personal shit. You know, like, I want to make this many albums. I want to do it this way. Catalog to look like this. You know, I want it to look a certain way. I want it to be a certain way. I have the songs in me, you know, so I might as well write them, put them out there. And so, like, and I'm getting to that point. I never thought, oh, I'm gonna quit rapping, but I always knew there'd be finished, like, making albums. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Yeah.
there. You know, like, I feel like I'm there. Got so many other side projects and, like, mentoring cats around town. It's like, I'm ready to do all that, you know?
Definitely. Definitely. Like in like for somebody that like me, I've been doing my thing for years, and like setting certain goals. It's like it's not really like kind of like, oh, I'm gonna make it after this goal. It's like, yo, I'm gonna know myself that I did this. Like I remember I think it was 2015 or 14, back when like prior to like doing these interviews on live, I was doing the interviews in person, filming them, and then putting them on my YouTube. And I told myself right at the beginning of the year, and I posted it. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna post an interview every Monday. And like I was going up to shows almost every weekend, getting these interviews, and like by like October, I was kind of like drained out. I was like, oh shit, like I might not make it for the rest of the year. But I pushed because I'm like, yo, I told people I'm gonna do this. This is a goal I set for myself. I knew like making it from October to December, it wasn't gonna make the difference of me making it huge or nothing like that. But I wanted for myself to know that I went and did every Monday for the entire year.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
I wanted that for my own personal shit too, right? Like to say, hey man, I did this shit. Like I'm a fucking grinder. You know, I fucking you know.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, the success is just in doing the work. It ain't about how
Right.
people accept it. You know, like, I've
Yeah.
always told people this, like, if you can find 100 people that fuck with you, you could be in the game for 20 years. And, like, you know, you don't even need to have a huge follower count or nothing. You just need to have people that every time you drop, they tap in with you and purchase the
For
product.
sure.
And if you got 100 people that'll fuck with you and you got product to sell, you can make money, you know. And you ain't gonna be rich, but you ain't gonna be broke in the hip hop game, you know. And like, people might look at you and be like, well, he ain't got 10,000 followers and a blue check mark and this and that. It's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
you can have quiet victories too. You know, there's a lot of people getting quiet victories. And so
Hmm.
when I started, you know, you got to realize, man, when I started rapping, it was like 1996. So like, nowadays, every kid that starts rapping is immediately looking on the internet and comparing himself to somebody. Like, back then, there was no comparing it to anybody because there was no outlet for that unless maybe you picked up a Source magazine, or, you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
maybe came across some vinyl or a cassette tape. So it wasn't like and it would only be mainstream people like LL Cool J or some shit. You know, you wouldn't find another underground dude from California or Canada. Like in '96 when I was rapping, I would have never known Mad Child was in Canada rapping, doing the same shit, right? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. It's like I came from a different time where I wasn't comparing myself to other people. I was setting personal goals. Like I started out, yo, I want to have a 4-track demo, you know what I'm saying? So I can shop a 4-track demo. I mean, that was the beginning. And then after that, I was like, yo, I want to get a song in a snowboard movie. You see what I'm saying? And then I did that. And then it was like, yo, I want to do this. So I set personal goals rather than goals based upon what other people did. You know what I mean? And that was something that has probably made me different than a lot of people, because I don't give a fuck what they do. You know what I mean? Like that shit. If it don't affect me or like engage what I'm trying to create, it doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? Because if I'm sitting here pocket watching every single fucking rapper all day long, like if you look at who I'm following on my page, I don't even follow no famous rappers and shit. Like I don't consume what they do in order to create what I make. You feel what I'm saying? Like my shit don't sound like nobody. You feel what I mean? Like if you can name 5 people that sound like my records that are out right now, I'll give you $100 in your PayPal, because you can't do it. You see what I'm saying? But most people see somebody and they're like, yo, I need a tight beat. Like I need a Drake beat. I need a this beat. And that's where they already have lost, because motherfuckers have already done that shit. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I don't need to hear you rap on auto-tune. T-Pain did that shit 20 years ago, dog. Like, you know, like Griselda comes out and they rap with no drums, so now everybody raps with no drums. It's like, y'all are fucking dumb. Like, that shit don't make no sense. Like, they created a lane for themselves, and that's why they're where they're at. So if you follow that, you only going to go so far, because you can't never be what they are. You know what I mean? So I would rather always know I kept it funky with myself and kept it original. And like every word I write, I can stand behind, you know what I mean? Like you can break down the words and I can tell you every bit of it, what it is and what it ain't. You see what I'm saying? Rather than be like, I got a hollow chain and a fake Louis belt and I'm trying to be like fucking Riff Raff or some shit. You see what I'm saying? Like that don't make no sense. So that's always my advice to young cats when I'm mentoring them around town. Like, dude, you got to have your own sound. Like, you got to shine on your own shit first. You see what I'm saying? Like,
definitely.
That's
like,
the main thing.
The same thing you're saying. It's like, man, like, yeah, you gotta have your own style. You gotta have your own shit. Like nobody interviews like me. You know?
Yeah.
The same thing you were saying. Like, like if you can find 5 rappers that sound the same as you, it's like, yo, if you could actually find 5 interviewers that that interview like me, like good luck on that, you know? Like,
and I mean, I think that's the main thing, man. I mean, when it comes down to it, like everybody already had that spot. Like too many people, like it's like when I started rapping, I didn't know there wasn't an Eminem. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't like I was a white dude trying to be like Eminem or anything like that. Or like a lot of people nowadays immediately try to gravitate towards something like homie got dreadlocks and they're pink. So now everybody got pink dreadlocks. Or, you know, homie wears these big ass fucking fake diamonds and shit. So now I do that. And like when you're doing that, you're losing your authenticity because people see through that shit, you know? So, I mean, my whole gimmick is like, keep it 100 for real. And even like, I'll sacrifice. I mean, I could get on the record and say some real crazy fly shit, you know, but like that ain't me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could get on there and bark all that shit off and like, and pretend, and then what? Ride my bike to work? Like, come on, player. Like, I ride my bike to work, dog. I got a whip, a van, and I ride a bike to work. Like, that's how I'm doing, dog. Like, I'm wearing a robe right now. Like, I'm not tripping on that, dude. Like, I don't need to put my rapper suit on. You feel what I'm saying? And that's
imagine somebody like listening to somebody and be like in their songs, like they're like, oh, like whoa, whoa, whoa. And then all of a sudden like you see them riding their bike to work. You're like, yo, like he was just rhyming about his chains and his fucking his cars and like,
and that, you know, and that conversation's been had forever. I mean, I'm the same thing about lyrics. It's like if you can't and this ain't no knock on people, because I get it. Like, everybody gets an award nowadays, but like, this is the real spill. If you can't rap your lyrics without having the vocal on the beat live, then don't do that song. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
find the songs you can rip live and do
All
those.
right. All
You
right.
see what
Talk
I
to him.
mean? Because
Yeah.
if you do that, dude, some old head like me that's 20 years older than you will get up there with a gang of Breath Control and really rip a mic, you know, and then that shit looks dumb. So practice your shit.
Yeah.
It makes it way worth it. Like, I see so many internet videos of dudes doing live shows, and then it's just a song, and then they're like barely even into it behind the music, and like, that ain't it either, bro. So like, I'm very, you know, I'm forward with that shit. And like, when I do interviews and shit like I like to make that shit known. Like, that's my stance on stuff, because if you want to push the game forward or have a chance in the game, or like you look to be like some of them other cats, then you got to be able to do that, because they do that, you know. So I think it's about pushing the game forward. Like, I'm not the best dude. I mean, my whole thing, like when I was growing up in my city, it was always like, I would tell my homies, like, you can rap better than me, so I'm gonna put the work in and try to like push you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a gang of dudes on my feed that rap hotter than me, and I'm cool with that. And I throw fire flame comments on their shit all the time, because I ain't scared. You know, I'm comfortable. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like,
mean? So
I literally, like, when the last songs I put out was called I'm Broke, and the hook I actually said I got holes in my pockets. I spend too fast. I was spending my money too fast, and the pair of pants, like one of the pair of pants that I had at the time, actually had a hole in the pocket. So I'd keep all my change. Actually, I keep all my change in my one side of my pocket. Like, I was like real rap. It was like, yo, I actually had a hole in my pocket. Like,
yo,
and,
man, and I mean, I'm gonna keep it funky. Like, I know people embellish shit on raps, like, just like when you catch a little ass fish this big and you say it's that big. Like, I get it, man. But you know, people gotta understand what I'm saying when I say that kind of stuff. Like, you got to keep it funky with yourself, man. You know, you don't want to front too hard. You know, you don't want to front way too hard. You know, and you know, in the city I'm living in right now, Colorado, last night they just had this big thing, this underrated thing where all the young talent in the city performed there, and it was put on by one of the studios. And, you know, I've been out here long enough to know, like, people are, you know, young and up and coming dudes in the city are hard to show each other shine and shit, you know, or show each other love. And I think, that's what helps build the community, you know what I mean, amongst artists. Like, if you don't generate a way for the whole community to get paid, then your scene won't grow. Like, if your idea is like, I'm a producer in this city and I'm going to sell $50 beats to all the rappers in my city, but then I'm not going to push any of the songs they do and all that, but I'm going to just get money from them. That's not how it works. You see what I'm saying? Like, you work together to build something up that slowly starts creating buzz, and then everybody can get a couple bucks when people come to town, instead of mid-level independent artists come through your town and take your money. You see what I mean? Like, you should be figuring out how to generate that money amongst yourselves. Like, a promoter wants you to pay him to get on the show until you can sell out the building. You see what I'm saying? So if you got 4 or 5 groups in the town, even if they're better than you, that's how you do it. You join forces and sell out the building and do those shows. And don't do artist showcases with 100 people on the bill. You get the 4 or 5 hottest people in the town and the hottest DJ, and then you sell out the show. And then that's how you take power back. You know what I'm saying? It's just like having a website. Like, if you pay a distribution company to put your shit up on iTunes and all that shit, that's great. And then you say, my shit's on all platforms. Or you could build a website for the same cost it costs you to put up all them songs, and then say, go directly to my website and download the music from me directly, or PayPal me directly. You see what I'm saying? And so people will pay into shows and spend all this money, and by the end of the year, you could have built a website, be like, click the link in my bio, and it's actually a real website that's managed by a real company, and it'll cost you probably $100 a year once you get it built. And then once you do that, like me, you send people directly to your website, buy my album here. Now, don't get me wrong. I have albums on streaming sites. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the point is, the power is in having that. You see what I'm saying? Like we're on Instagram giving them all the power. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like when you build your own platform, your own website, your own things like that, you can really run farther in the game, you know, for a longer period of time because you get people used to going directly to your website and they're comfortable there. You feel what I'm saying? They're comfortable there. They're like, I'm comfortable. This is my man Jason's website. I'm about to buy something. You see what I mean? And so
Exactly.
that's a lot of the things I like to explain to people and try to encourage people to do because they spend their money on the wrong things. And the reason why I know that is because I did that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like I already done fucked up, dude. I mean, I'm an old head. Yo, what's up? What's up, everybody that's watching? I see you down there, 100. I
Yeah.
am what's up?
You know,
Live Music Distribution, King Loopy, all you guys that are in here, Arcane 905.
yeah.
Yo,
Yeah. We were just we were talking about just keeping it real. Like, you know, I'm not in a fancy studio recording this. Like, you guys just literally just watch me reach into my fridge that's right next to me and make my fucking drink.
hey man, I mean, look, you gotta be able to make it. You gotta be able to make it how you live, and like, not everybody has a fancy studio, but if you know how to mix, you don't need one. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, if you got an ear and can mix, you don't need a fancy studio. You just need to know how to use the equipment you got. I mean, the album I just put out, I recorded in a small little room with a $50 mic, and no one would ever know that. But it got mixed.
So like for my graphics, I was telling about like a lot of people that just, that I talked to in the scene, they're all like, oh, you use these programs, Adobe and all that stuff like that, and I was like, no, I actually cut that whole image thing on Sony Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And like a buddy of mine that does graphics, he looked at me when I said that. He was like, "No, you didn't use Sony Vegas for that." Like he was looking down on down on the program, and I was like, "No, I actually did. Like if you actually go through all the features, they actually have some of the same features that some of those other programs have." And I told him like because he was impressed with some of the graphics I did, and like I told him like the programs I did it on, and he was like, "Oh shit, eh?" Like. So the same thing you're saying is like, yo, if you actually know how to use the shit that you have, you can like
I mean,
I've had people tell me like, oh, there's no way you did that on that program. I'm like, yeah, I did.
I mean, you get the equipment, you learn how to use it correctly, and that's how you freak the game. I mean, I've never been in no big studio my whole career. I mean, when I first came in the game, and I was fucking with a management company, they put me in a big studio. Other than that, man, I've been out the basement with, you know what I mean, and just work with the right producers that can mix, and you know, and I've learned how to use all the equipment because I like to rap, so I had to learn to use the equipment from the producers.
Definitely, like
You know what I mean?
and that's a big thing, like learning everything yourself, because like it's hard finding like the right people to work with on shit. So a lot of times you gotta learn how to do like a lot of shit yourself, because like a lot of people don't have the same vision as you. They don't have the same passion and grind as you. So you're like yo, like how am I gonna get this right the way I want it?
Well, yeah,
So like
you know,
you have to learn this shit like yourself and kind of like be like, okay, you know, like.
That when I was coming up doing it, that's kind of how I was. I mean, my homie that was making beats and shit, I just sat over his shoulder and watched him for years. That way I knew what was fucking cracking, you know? That way when the time came, I knew how to like freak it and do all.
Oh shit. You good?
My bad, man.
Yeah, we good. Are we all good? Right here.
Yo, but
Yeah.
You know, like I was saying, you know, I'm really like giving lessons on a lot of shit tonight about really my downfalls and things I made a mistake with. And one thing I will say, because I know that this is on Instagram and it'll be on YouTube and stuff, is like a lot of producers jump in my inbox and are like, yo, fuck with my beats and shit like that. And the problem is, this is what the problem is. They don't package them correctly. Like they send me these links to like 1,000 YouTube links or some shit like that, and like I ain't gonna fuck with that. Or you got like these intros that are like 20 seconds long. It's like, homie, create snippets, drop that fire in someone's inbox, because someone that's really moving and grooving and doing 46 tracks and 12 videos in a year, they are not fucking with your YouTube links. And that's why you ain't getting no sales, player. And I'm telling you that right now, because you're making it too difficult. Like, first of all, if you don't trust an artist to send them some snippets like MP3s in his inbox, then don't even send them. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if you just wildly sending links to people, then you got the game fucked up. You know what I mean? The most successful people I've seen are dudes that create little 30-second or 1 minute MP3s, and they send them to artists, and those artists are able to quickly listen through the MP3s and then say yay or nay, you know? So those are quick tips, man, that probably will help actually make it. I mean, there's one producer that sends me shit like that, and almost every time I buy it. Almost every time I buy it, because that shit is fire and it's in my inbox, and I'm like, yes, I want it. I pay money, and immediately homeboy drops me the wave. So when you make it simple and easy for people, it's way better than being
I actually learned that too with, like, if you know these interviews, like when you click them on YouTube, it gets right to the shit. Like, fucking, I don't have a fucking big long ass intro that fucking, you know, to make it look fancy. I just drop it, and like, cause I know people don't have time for that shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, as an artist that's writing music and working, and people are sending you stuff to listen to, I mean, a kid the other night put like 10 YouTube links in my inbox, and I was like, what am I going to do with this, dude? You know, just drop me a couple quick little snippets, and if you don't trust me, don't send me no shit, because, I mean, if you think I'm going to steal your MP3 and do anything, you lost your mind. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, first of all, you should be vetting your people, right? I'm a producer. I'm sending people links. I think this dude is legit. I've been watching him for a while. I'm going to send him a couple of MP3s, little 30-second clip, see if he's feeling this shit. Not send him some 59-second intro. You know what I mean? It's like I'm sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's like, damn, dude. It's like watching
and it's the same thing with me. Like, when people like send me stuff, like, because I know, like, people like want to be on the show. So like, people want to be on the show, and they'll send me shit, and like, it'll have a long ass intro on it, and I'm like, yo, dude, like, get to the shit, like, and I'm like, I got a lot of artists like that like to be on the show or want to do interviews, and I'm like, yo, like, and like, a lot of times when I'm going through, and even like trying to find new artists to be on the show, like if I don't like this shit within 30 seconds, I'm clicking off it. I'm trying to find somebody else.
Well, we've been so programmed too, you know. I mean, like I was talking about earlier, being on doing shit before the internet. It's like now we're so programmed. I mean, even me as an artist, I mean, I've consolidated how I create my music, you know, because people, you know, it's like I get right to it, like get right to the music, right into the shit, you know what I mean? Like give them the meat and potatoes. I mean, there's songs on this album, I think there might be 3 or 4 songs I don't even really got hooks on. I just rap 20-some bars, talk a little shit, and keep rapping, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, that's what people want me to do. The people that I know that like my music, they want to hear me rap the way I rap. So I'm like, I'm just going to give them I'm going to give them raps. That's what I'm going to give them. So that's kind of how I've evolved with the new school, is just condensing my shit instead of 3.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes now. You know what I mean? So
for sure. And like, people don't listen to radio no more, but like back when like the radio was a thing, radio would only play like 3 minutes. So people have like 4 or 5 minute songs. Like the whole thing wouldn't even be played. So now like people are only listening to like 2 minutes of a song. Especially if you go to a place where DJs play music, a DJ's only playing the music for like a minute and a half, and then he's switching on to another song.
Oh yeah, that's what they say. The third verse is dead, and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to keep third verses on a lot of my shit if I can, you know. But like I said, I mean, earlier when we were talking, I never thought I'd ever quit rapping, but I always knew there'd be a time done and finish making albums, you know, like I got so many features in the pocket and like different stuff I've done with people all through like fucking with Instagram that I could just let out. That I really, I mean, you know, especially getting older, it's like I really want to make sure I'm helping the young heads in my area that I can help, that will accept the help, or take the words of advice and shit like that about certain little tips or things that I've learned simply by fucking up. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't because I know anything. It's because I did it and fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the right move. You know? So, I mean, that's a lot of it for me, man. I mean, lessons, dude, lessons. I mean,
For sure.
all about lessons. Once you get to a certain point, like myself, you know, not like a point of success or monetary gain, but a point of personal satisfaction in knowing who I am. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't got no problem giving people props or dropping fire flames on their shit or being like, dope, man. Like, because everybody else is nervous to do that. Like, there's 50% of the people are just watching you, wishing, you know, instead of just being like, hell yeah, that shit's dope. It's like, I put my album up yesterday and like, I got like 20 DMs, like, your shit's fire, you got dope bars. And I'm like, just put a comment on there, player. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do I got to wax your name out and then put it in my story anyway and show people that people are talking about it? You know, like, show love, man. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, fuck
Exactly.
it don't take nothing away from you, bro. You know, it don't take nothing away. So,
Exactly. And like, yeah, like even like me, like you say, you've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing my stuff for a long time. And like, even if I don't quote unquote make it, I'm proud of what like that's the thing. Like, I'm proud of like the content I've done. Like, I've talked to different artists from all over the world. You know, like I've done some shit where I'm like, yo, even if like I don't quote unquote make it, and I don't have the thousands and millions of followers and all those hits and shit like that. It's like, when I look back at my journey, I'm fucking proud of what I've done.
well, yeah,
You know,
man.
and that's what people should focus on. People shouldn't focus on like, oh, I need like 1 million followers, or I need this. Like,
Well,
you know,
they're gonna
like,
shut
people.
all this shit off anyway, man. I mean, they're gonna shut all this shit off anyway one day. So it's like, this isn't what it is,
Right.
dude. It's about, you know, it's like I tell people all
Just
the
being
time.
proud.
Yeah, I mean, it's memories, man. You making memories with people. Like, I got $1 million worth of memories. I've done shows with some of the most famous people in the world in the last 20 years of my life. You know what I mean? I mean, I got big features on my catalog. I've done major, you know, things. I mean, to me, they're major, and to other people, they might not be. But you see what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's success. It's like I tell people, define your own success. How you gonna let someone else tell you that? You know what I'm saying? Some Balenciaga shoes and a fucking hollow chain is success, dog. Like, how you gonna let someone tell you 1 million followers success? It's like people say, if you over 40, you shouldn't be rapping anymore. Well, I'm 43 and I've gas half the people that are saying that shit. So it's like,
Talk to them.
I ain't tripping about it, dude. Like, I do shit because I love it, man. You know what I mean? And like, people, my album came out and I'm already selling it. So it's like, am I selling thousands of copies? No. But I am selling CDs. You see what I'm saying? I'm still selling fucking hard copies and tape. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm successful. And that's what it is. You know what I mean? And so that's how each artist should look at themselves. Like, yo, I did this, and this is what defines my success. I'm happy. My family's happy. I got a roof over my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm chilling. Tomorrow's my mama's birthday. It's like, you know, I'm happy. You won, dog. You see what I mean? Like, you did it your way, I did it my way, and we both won, and that's how you're supposed to do it. You know?
For sure. So like, so for like, for a young rapper just starting out, like, what is like some early tips for like a brand new rapper? Like, let's say he hasn't recorded anything, he's just been freestyling with his friends and shit like that. And what are some early tips that like you got for like beginning rappers?
My advice would be, you got to shine on your own shit. You know, like if you're a solo cat, your first banger got to be by yourself. Like you got to be able to stand on your, you know, like Lupe Fiasco, Kick Push. Like you got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet out the gate. You feel what I'm saying? Like you can't try to go buy a huge feature and think that it's going to make you hot, because that's the feature is hot, and most likely the feature ain't going to do nothing to help push it. So the first advice would be like shine on your own shit, right? And then the second advice would be like talk about your life for real. You know what I'm saying? Like I know, like I do street style music. You see what I mean? Like I rap and like use metaphors and double entendres and shit and talk about like street shit and like baseball and like different shit that I've done in my life, you know what I mean? And like, and then I equate it to my rapping, like how rappers do, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to rap on your own shit, like talk about your own shit, you know, like what you are, you know what I mean? I played baseball my whole life. My albums have songs like Nolan Ryan, Roy Hobbs, you see what I'm saying? I love wrestling. I got songs like Jimmy Superfly, you see what I mean? So like, do you know what I mean? That way when your boys look at you, they're like, yeah, that's him. You see what I mean? Because you can't come back with some old fuddy-duddy fraudulent shit and then be like, yo, check out my track I made. And it's like, imagine if I walked in with a track that sounded like 6ix9ine. Y'all would be like, what's wrong with you? Like, you an idiot. Like, you got to redo that. So that would be my main thing. You got to shine on your own shit. You got to talk about, I mean, I was just talking to a young artist that's out here probably in the last 3 months. And he was asking me about shit like that, about his style. And that's what I was telling him. I was like, you got to kind of talk more about your own shit, dog. Like, you know, I say a line in one of my new songs, I say, you keep rapping about rapping and it still sounds basic. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times you going to rap about rapping? Like you got to rap about stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You got to rap about things and stuff. That way, you know, people take away from it. You feel what I mean? Like, you know?
Sure.
So that's the main thing. You got to rap about real shit that makes sense to you, right? Okay, that would be one. And make your first banger by yourself. You see what I mean? And do that shit with someone local that makes beats that are tight. You know, you don't need to go buy a beat from Primo for 5 racks, you know what I mean, or 10 racks, whatever it is. Like settle down and make some fly shit with your homie. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then build on that, you know. So that's my advice to young cats, man. And I mean, like, I understand people need to build teams, but you don't need a million fucking people involved in what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you're an artist. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, you know, there's a young kid. He grew up across the street from my house. He's like maybe 17 now. And he went and signed a management deal with some local company. And like, I get that he wants to be signed to something, but like, you signed to a local company that's benefiting you in no way. So, like, you gotta make your shit hot first, you know what I mean? And then don't, you know, oh, I signed to somebody. So what, man? I've been signed and turned down shit, you know, like, so like, what the fuck, dude? And that shit didn't do nothing for me, really, you know what I mean? Like, it was just some per diem and some studio time, like. So.
And another thing I want to talk about is like so like you're saying like the midnight run. So like I actually think midnight might be the best time to send a DM to make the midnight run, because like girls are done with like their whole shit for the day. They're done being busy. Like they're winding down again, and a lot of them are still up. So like the midnight DM might be the best time for the midnight run. Look, because man, like they're like I said, they're actually done with their day. They're done being busy. They're winding down. They're probably still up. They're probably just like watching a show, and they're like, yo,
man, you're bugging out. You've been drinking too much JMO. You're gonna get me in trouble, dog. Hey, man, but for real though, I do. I got a new album out. That's my second one of the year.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, 46 tracks and 12 videos since last April. So, man, and it ain't enough, dog. It really ain't enough. And I'm an old head. And you know, we talked before, and in 2018, I had kidney failure. You know, and I survived that. And I had a drug problem and shit like that. And I got sober. I've been sober over 3 years now. And like,
Awesome.
you know, I had a drug and alcohol problem and all that shit. And, you know, I survived that. And when I survived that, I was in 2017, I released an album that I thought was like the pinnacle for me. And like, I was like, it was really going to do big shit. And a year later, I was in a hospital bed, you know? So when I got out of the hospital, all the shit that's happened after that, like after, you know what I mean? 2018, all the shit that I've done now and released now, it's really just because I love the sport, dog. You know what I mean? Like, I love the fucking sport.
Oh, man.
People are still, you know, encouraging me to release music. And so, like, I set a goal for myself, and I was like, I'm going to crush that goal, you know, and knock out these bangers and put them out there. And then I'm going to try to help some young cats, you know what I mean? Like, through messages, DMs, doing live chats, whatever it takes to try to get the information out there, because I'm not famous in any way, but shit, I know a few things, you know what I mean? And like, you can
like you're just saying that, like, you know, I'm glad that happened for you. I'm glad you're here. Me, like, around the same time, I kind of like had a moment with my health. I remember it was right around that same time when I remember I was going to work, and I was coming up to a busy street, and I was walking. And I was like, oh, if I actually jog, I'll be able to make it across the street, and I'll be able to make the light like before it changes, right? So I did that. I got across the street, and like just to jog across the street, I was like super dizzy. I thought I was gonna pass out. I was like, oh shit! Like I was kind of scared for a second, and I was like, oh man, I need to focus on losing this weight. And like over the last like couple months, I've lost over 30 pounds.
Well, congratulations.
So like you're saying, man, like at a certain point, like, man, you just have to kind of like just fucking like really do this shit, and like kind of like when moments hit you, you're like, yo, I need to change my life around.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you know, last month, July 17th, the show here in Denver was an underground dude from Oakland, and he passed away. Rest in peace. From COVID, like 2 weeks after the show, man. And I mean, we did the show together, shook hands, gave each other love. I mean, his DJ is a friend of mine. And 2 weeks later, he lost his life to COVID, or, you know, COVID related.
Sure.
Like, so the time is now, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When people tell you, oh, the right time, I'm waiting for the right time, the right time is right now. There is no waiting for the right time. Like, the person that's telling you that shit, they ain't ready. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm telling you to wait, because they ain't ready. Because the time is right now. It's like it's not tomorrow, not next week. It's like, you know, you execute and you get it done, because tomorrow ain't gonna be there, maybe, you know. And like
the sad thing is like sometimes we need those realizations. Like, man, if I hadn't jogged across the street and almost passed out and I kind of lost my breath off just jogging across the street, like I might have still been eating cheeseburgers the same way. I might have been, you know, like not caring.
Man.
I might have been like not losing weight. I might have been like not working out. Like and I might have passed away just from a heart attack or shit like that. Like,
well, yeah,
you know,
man,
like, because
you gotta. You know, like I tell people all the time, you got to take care of you first. You know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
ain't nobody else gonna help you. You know, you got to help yourself. You know, and like I learned that because I was on drugs, man. I mean, I was a functioning drug addict for a real long time, man. And I mean, I was rapping and drugging and partying and traveling and doing shows. And I mean, prior to 2018, I was on the road constantly doing shows and out of town and doing stuff. And I mean, after that, I had to change my whole lifestyle. You know, and like, I've only done maybe 2 or 3 shows since that happened to me, because, you know, I had to change my life. And that's like I told you, it's like I knew I'd never quit, but I always knew I'd be finished with making albums and be ready to start helping other people, or, you know, giving advice or doing whatever. And like, I always tell people, I'm going to tell you a bunch of shit and I'm going to put a bunch of lessons out there. Then you got to dig through them and figure out what works best for you. You know what I mean? As simple as
Right.
that, man. I mean, that's the way it works. It's just like reading a book, you know? And, you know, I tell people all the time, my messages are open. If you want to fuck with me, holler at me, get at me, email me. I make myself available online. I comment back to people. I reply. You know, I try to make myself available. So, because I ain't no high sedity nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And like something you're saying is like taking different people's advice. Like for when I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to work out and stuff like that, I actually talked to a bunch of different people, and like I would try some of the things different people would say, and some of the things they would say didn't work for me. So like I had to like figure out my own path, and like kind of like I had to really kind of like listen. I'm like, okay, I'll try that, and like it didn't work for me, so I have to try something else. Like but I talked to a bunch of different people, and I kind of like got a gumbo of information, and I took the best I took the best information out of that, and really like I found out what really works for me. Like everybody's advice isn't exactly like what will work for you, but like taking a bunch of different advice from all around, like and kind of like testing the theories, it is really the way to kind of figure out your path to the right moves. I find, you know.
I'll be there in a minute. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. I'm that same way. I like to dig through all the information. See, you know what I mean? Like, I see how other people have done things in the past and then figure out what works for me and implement it into how I do my thing with my own twist, you know? And I think that's exactly right, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, hold on. Sorry. Sorry, Eddie.
Yeah.
I got to get ready to start wrapping it up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So like after we did the first interview, I was right around the same time I did the interview, and I have Avery Hooks on the show coming up soon. I haven't seen any new, you guys are talking about doing a song. I haven't heard one yet.
We were working on something for my album, and then he was moving. Back in April, we were working on something for my album. He had a couple of tracks he was working on, and then he was moving, and then he wasn't able to get his studio together in time, and then like all the timing didn't work out. So then we were just like, well, let's reconvene on something in the future. You know what I mean? And then he's been working on his clothing line. So, you know, and then I got all off on what I was doing, and then he started working on his clothing line. So I'm thinking that one of these days, he and I are going to get together. You know what I mean? Something's going to come. I mean, I think the time will come. I think we just got to get back. You know, we kind of got to like what we're doing right now has got to slow down. You know what I mean? So we can refocus. And then because he had the songs. I mean, he had them and he was on them and he agreed to do them and everything was all good. And then he had to move, and you know how that shit goes, man.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. So it just didn't work out, the timing. But I think, I mean, with me and Avery, I think he and I are definitely going to join forces one day and come up with something dope. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't count it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what up, Brian Bristow, 28?
Yeah, Bristol. Yeah, so like, but yeah, I'm gonna have Avery Hooks on the show in a couple weeks. Me and him been talking about that.
Yeah, ask him about it. Say you need to send Six something. Because
for sure.
We talked, and I immediately sent him tracks like, "Yo, jump on these tracks," and he's like, "I'm in," and then it just didn't happen, man. But it ain't no love lost, man. I don't really take that shit personal. I mean, like, we all move at a different pace, and we all do different shit. And like, I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, opportunities have come my way, opportunities have not come my way. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think him and I together would be pretty dope on the track.
I think so too. That's why I brought it up when I seen you guys talking or the comments. I was like, oh shit! I was actually excited. I'm like, yo, I want to hear this. So yeah.
We're gonna cook something up, man. Something will come. And I mean, with the technology nowadays, we can bang something out in a day, you know. So we just gotta, we just kind of gotta lock in. You know what I mean? I miss Eddie too, man. I'm glad I'm talking to him today. It's nice.
Yeah. Miss you too, Bristow.
But you know, like always, Eddie, I appreciate you, man. And I know I got some family stuff going on, but I wanted to be able to stop in and talk to you for a while and just make sure everything was all good and you're not mad at me. No, just kidding. Just kidding, man.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Nah, man. I appreciate you, bro. And, you know, I wear your Eddie TV shirt around town all the time. It's funny because every time I go into town, my mom's like, you wearing that shirt again? So, but yeah, man, I mean, like I said, I got albums out. So hopefully the people that watch tonight will jump on my IG and check out my new album, drop a comment if they think that shit's dope. They can download it on my website for free. So if they read my post real carefully, I give specific directions on how to download the whole file off my website for free. So my man Brian, he and I would have a good time if we were kicking it. This dude got me weak.
Shout out to Britta. Britta's the man.
Yeah, but for real, man, people, you know, hopefully people will go on there and download it. I've been getting some people who've been downloading it. A couple people bought it off Bandcamp since I dropped it yesterday. And people are texting me and telling me they like it, man. So, you know, it's the music I make, man. I make raw hip hop shit, you know, like I'm not on there singing no funky hooks or nothing, dude. I just rap, you know, and like some people fuck with it and some people fuck with it, some people don't.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And,
so wrapping this up, I want to make sure everybody checks out your website. Everybody checks out my YouTube. I got clips out every day. I've been putting up. I have full interviews come out. Well, like every day, either I have a full interview I drop, or I have a clip from one of the interviews drop every single day.
Well, everybody tune into Eddie G TV.
Yeah.
Fuck with Eddie. And yo, thereal6o'clock.com. It's that simple. You know what I mean? I'm just that.
For sure.
Fuck with me. Tap in. Eddie, I appreciate you, bro. You have a good night. Don't drink all that JMO tonight, dog. Don't drink all that JMO. Your girl gonna hit you upside the head. Like, what's wrong?
Oh, no. I'm a girl. I'm single. When midnight hits, I'm gonna send some DMs.
You in the DMs, you dirty dog. Hey, you have a good night, Eddie. I appreciate you, bro. I'll talk to you real soon, man.
For sure.
Much love, bro. Peace.